So in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you exactly what's happening in the prime London property market, which, by the way, its trajectory is totally different to what's happening in the rest of the UK. Well, we did see some really positive signs in the month of June, and we thought this was going to play out the same in July. That didn't really materialise. In fact, if we look at the month of July compared to the same period last year, achieved prices actually went down by above 2%. That's in all three markets. And if we look at specifically for prime central London, it went down above 3%. Now, although it is true, the property market does soften during the summer holiday. However, this July has been quite quiet when compared to other Julys of other years. In fact, transactions were down by 26% compared to the same month last year. And if we compare the average of pre-pandemic between 2017 and 2019, was down by 9%. New instructions in July were 12.4% lower than a year earlier, but for the calendar year to date, they were up slightly by 2.6%. The July figure was also 6.4% above the 2017-2019 average. And the number of properties falling under offer is following pretty much the same pattern. In fact, if we look at July compared to last year, it's 30% lower. But if we compare it to the average 2017 to 2019, it's actually up by 8%. Now, these figures suggest that we're coming back to a somewhat normal market compared to what happened after 2022. So the trajectory of the prime London market has been very different to the other parts of the UK over the decade. In fact, values across all prime London in July were 2.1% below their peak of November 2014. According to Lonres average achieved sale price data. Now, Nationwide Index shows that the average UK house price has grown by 38% over the same period. Much of this growth came between early 2020 and the peak of last August. And whilst the methodology for this data can be very different, and there is an argument to say that there is no direct comparison, what Lonres tells us is that there is analysis to say that whatever path the UK takes can be very different to what prime London does. And when it comes to the £5 million market, we did see new instructions this July, up compared to the same month last year, up by 30%. And when it comes to the average between 2017 and 2019, up by almost 80%. Now, sales activity has reduced, however, with transactions in July down by 23.8% and down 18% for the year to date, both compared to 2022. The number of properties going under offer is less negative than actual sales. Properties going under offer recording an annual fall of 14% in July, but the year-to-date figure is 3.6% higher. And if these deals do materialise, that means the figures for the upcoming month can look much, much healthier. However, the fall through for 2023 are already 15% up, so this is definitely not a given. The number of price reduction in the 5 million plus market in 2023 so far has almost doubled compared to the same months in 2022. This is much larger change than the wider prime London market, whereas other indicators are more in line over the same period. Combined with continued growth in the new instructions, buyers at the top end of the market should have more choice over the rest of the year. So my conclusion at the back of the Lonres market report for the month of July is that, in fact, the prime London property market is different to the rest of the UK. They're obviously less sensitive to a mortgage and what the mortgage does. They may be influenced by it in the fact that they may have less confidence, but it certainly doesn't affect their ability to actually purchase, because most of these buyers are going to be cash. And at the time of recording this video, I am seeing a lot of reports of a lot of lenders actually reducing their rates. Could it be because they know something that we don't in terms of the peak of the rates of interest rates from the Bank of England? Have we reached that peak? And if you want to find out more about the prime London property market, feel free to book an appointment directly with me. The link is in the description.